Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us for another segment of Health Professional Radio. In this segment, we'll be speaking with Zack Irani. He's joining us here as CEO of Biomerica. It's a global biomedical technology company that develops, patents, manufactures, and markets advanced diagnostic and therapeutic products. He's going to talk about the tools to make at-home screenings for diseases like breast cancer, colon cancer, and others simple and easy. Welcome to Health Professional Radio. Zack Irani, thank you for taking the time with us.
Thank you, Neil.
Tell us about yourself and talk briefly about being CEO of Biomerica.
Well, thanks. A little bit about myself. I came back to Biomerica about 12 years ago, and I'm really excited to be here. I think we're embarking on changing the way that we can use diagnostic technology to actually treat patients. So you can actually get the information coming out of a diagnostic test and use it to treat patients. Similarly, we're also working on how do you take that diagnostic technology and bring it much closer to the patient so the patient can actually do it in the privacy of their own home in a very simple, effective manner. So I'm happy to talk to you about all our technologies and some of the tests that we currently have launched.
Well, first of all, this explosion of at-home health testing, is that a good thing for physicians from a physician standpoint? I mean, getting it closer to the consumer, great. But what about how it affects the physicians?
So I think it's very similar to COVID, right? You wouldn't want all your COVID patients coming into a physician and testing positive and then figuring out what to do, or testing negative and then trying to figure out what to do. Similarly, with a home test, if you could screen the patients who are positive, have them go see a physician, because that is the next step, then I think it actually helps the physician. Again, a physician is going to want to do their own exam. They're going to look at the entire health picture. So we're at-home tests are only giving a piece of the puzzle, not the entire puzzle. And it's not to take the physicians out of the healthcare. It's actually to bring the physician into the healthcare. And in many cases, these patients don't have access to other healthcare facilities. And so again, if you can screen patients and bring the ones that are positive to physicians, and even the ones that are negative and that continue to have symptoms, that's really, I think, a benefit for physicians.
Now, Biomerica is developing and marketing in-home tests for a variety of cancers and other ailments. I understand that you make a device that aids breast self-exams. It's called Aware, I do believe.
Correct, yeah. So Aware is really unique. And I think the thing that's really unique about it is, first of all, it's the only FDA-approved product that has a claim for breast self-examination. And what's unique about it is 80%, and I'll repeat that again, 80% of breast cancers are detected because women themselves notice the changes in their breasts. So in other words, it's not the mammography, it's not the breast self-examination that's done in the office. It's a woman herself that detects the difference. And the problem with breast self-examination is most women find it very difficult to know what's normal and abnormal. And that's where the Aware breast self-examination product comes in. It really helps women determine what's normal and abnormal. And the way it works is really enhancing tactile sensitivity. So it enhances the ability of a woman to detect what's normal and what's abnormal with her bare hands. It's clinically proven, and in fact, in a patient study with over 832 patients, women themselves, so a patient themselves, was almost as accurate, so 98.6 compared to 100% accurate in detecting breast cancer, so almost as accurate as a nurse who's been trained to do breast self-examinations in detecting their own problems, where that's not the case when women try to detect them with their bare hands.
So is this something that enhances the sensations in the hands, or is some type of readout and it's just handheld?
No, it is. It enhances the sensation in the hand of that female, and she can then determine what's normal and abnormal. So if you were to take a hair from someone's head and put it on a desk, and you put your finger on it, you wouldn't be able to feel it. If you put the Aware breast self-examination pad on top of it, it would feel like a cable underneath it. So it really enhances tactile sensitivity to a point where you can differentiate what's normal and abnormal. And again, the crazy statistic here is 80% of breast cancers are detected because women themselves notice the changes.
Now, you also manufacture an at-home screening test for colorectal cancer called Easy Detect. And I understand that there are some very particular U.S. guidelines for colorectal cancer screening using a product such as yours.
Yes, that's correct. So the guidelines for colorectal cancer screening in the United States today really involve three ways to get screened, okay? First and foremost is doing a colonoscopy, okay? And that is done every 10 years for anyone who's over the age of 45, okay? So you can do that every 10 years, or, and this is an or, not an and, but an or, you can do what's called a Cologuard. So it's a DNA-type test with detection of blood and utilizing DNA markers. Mm-hmm. You can do that every 3 years, or again, you can do what's called a FIT, a fecal immunotest, or an Easy Detect test, which is what we manufacture, every year. All of those are equivalent in the guidelines. So the way I like to talk about this is, look, if you want to handle stool and play with poop, you got lots of options. If you don't, then we're really the only option. With Easy Detect, it doesn't get any simpler. You have a bowel movement in the toilet. You drop a pad on top of the water. You look for a color change. If there's any color, it's positive. If there's no color, it's negative. You flush it down the toilet, and you're done. It's as simple as that. You never touch the stool.
Now, that's extremely unique for a FIT test, isn't it?
It is very unique. It's the only one on the marketplace that has no handling of the stool. And again, part of the problem with colorectal cancer screening is no one does it. Even though it's available, even though you can go get a colonoscopy, even though you can go get a Cologuard, even though the insurance covers it, even though you can get a FIT test, even though you can buy an Easy Detect for $14 on the shelf, a lot of people don't know it's available. And so, that is the first issue, is making sure people know that there are simple tests out there that are available. Now, once they do know that they should be doing it, a lot of people don't want to handle stool, and they don't want to play with poop, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't either. So Easy Detect takes all that out of colorectal screening and makes it really easy. It's just as easy as the name says. It's really easy. And it's $14 at Walmart, Walgreens, Amazon. You just go online and buy it.
You recently presented some data on InFoods IBS at the American College of Gastroenterology conference. What were the key findings, and why were those findings significant?
InFoods is a test that allows a doctor to determine which foods are causing an immune response above the normal level for a particular patient with a particular disease state. And so the data that we highlighted at the recent ACG meeting was for irritable bowel syndrome patients. Mm-hmm. So IBS patients. There's 40 million irritable bowel syndrome patients in the United States today. And irritable bowel syndrome patients really have pain, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, or a mixture of both that are problematic for them. So if you could reduce the pain, it would be phenomenal. If you could reduce the bloating, that would be fantastic. If you can do both, that's even better. The problem is the drugs don't work on all the patients, and they don't work that well. So what we presented at the ACG is that utilizing a simple blood test, a doctor can tell a patient which foods are causing an immune response, so inflammation, okay, is another word for it, above the normal level, and then by removing those foods out of that patient's diet, they're going to reduce the pain or eliminate the pain and bloating. It is phenomenal. The reception for this has been phenomenal. We're going to be launching this very soon with select large practices in the United States today, and then expanding that to other practices in the United States. But imagine this: personalized medicine by just determining what foods is causing that inflammation or immune response above the normal level.
That's exciting and going to bring a lot of hope to a lot of people.
It really is exciting. It's why I'm so excited about being at Biomerica and the company and what we're doing here.
Zach, give us a website where our listeners can learn more.
It's www.biomerica, and that's biomerica.com. You can also learn more about EasyDetect at easydetect.com and Aware at awarebse, breastselfexam.com.
Zack, I appreciate you joining us here on Health Professional Radio. Lots of great information. Hopefully you'll come back.
Absolutely. Would love to, Neil. Thank you.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Zack Irani. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. You can also listen in, download at Anchor, Spotify. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.